Breaking news right now on Late News Tonight.
We're doing CPR on one possible 12-year-old.
A deadly mass shooting in Stockton. At least 14 people shot. 4 people killed at a child's birthday party.
And unfortunately tonight, heaven is a little bigger. Children and adults that do not make it.
Tonight, a community left with many questions as an investigation grows. Thank you for joining us for Late News Tonight. I'm Nazi Javid, continuing our breaking news coverage of the deadly Stockton mass shooting at what's being described as a children's birthday party in a banquet hall. This happened shortly after 6 o'clock this evening on Lucille Avenue near Thornton Road. Investigators calling it a targeted attack. A family event, a party ending with gunfire on Thanksgiving weekend. You can see the map here on your screen where this happened. We also have video from the scene. We know that it remains active out there, and we have crews there standing by as investigators say a suspect is still on the run tonight. Here from San Joaquin District Attorney Ron Freitas.
It's our understanding at this time that the individual responsible is still outstanding. If you have any information as to this individual, reach out immediately. And if you are this individual, turn yourself in immediately.
A call from the DA there. Take a look at your screen. Investigators want you to have this number. Please jot it down. If you have any information about what happened tonight or a possible suspect, please call Stockton Crime Stoppers. The number is on your screen. That's 209-946-0600. Again, 209-946-0600. You can leave a tip anonymously. And we go now to our live team coverage tonight. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras and Roxanne Elias have been out at the scene throughout the evening for us, gathering details. And we start with you, Roxanne. You just heard from the mayor and investigators. Emotional moments. What can you tell us tonight?
Well, Nazi, with this being the Thanksgiving weekend here, this tragedy has truly hit all of the Stockton community pretty hard, including city leaders and the massive law enforcement response you see here behind me as they look for that suspect or multiple suspects that may have been responsible for this shooting so that they can hold them accountable.
This is Thanksgiving weekend. This is when families come together, celebrate, share memories, give each other love. And unfortunately tonight, heaven is a little bigger with the individuals, children and adults that unfortunately do not make it.
In an emotional statement, Stockton Mayor Christina Fugazi offered her support to her community following a shooting at a banquet hall near Lucille Avenue Saturday night. San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Heather Brent sharing that 14 people were shot, 4 of them killed, including children.
It is unfathomable that there are young children who are harmed, that there is anybody who is harmed in this, and our hearts go out to those victims, to their families, and to our community. Do you have any further questions at this time?
Multiple agencies and city leaders are vowing to seek justice for the victims who were shot at a family gathering. District Attorney Ron Freitas calling the tragedy unthinkable and pleading with his community and asking the person responsible to turn themselves in.
When this individual is caught, you have my promise that you will have the full force of my office's resources in holding this individual fully accountable.
Mayor Fugazi also calling on her city to do better and speak up if they know anything.
Whoever did this, if you know them, as the district attorney just said, please call Crime Stoppers. You can leave an anonymous tip. We've got work to do, and this type of violence, again, our city is better than that.
Now back out here live, I want to let you guys know exactly where we're at. We're at Thornton and Walden Avenue. Here the intersection is still shut off to anybody driving through. Still a massive law enforcement presence here as they investigate. Now just to recap really quickly, this all started to happen before 6 this afternoon at a banquet hall. San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office telling us that 14 victims, 4 of those people are dead, including children. Early indications suggesting this is a targeted incident, but detectives are out here working hard, trying to figure out what led up to the shooting. The main priority right now is trying to identify the suspect and hold that person or persons accountable for what happened here. I'm live in Stockton. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Roxanne, thank you so much for that update. And as we all know, it was a heartbreaking situation. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras was there minutes after it all unfolded. And Gabriel, what was it like out there?
And Nazi, it was a frantic scene, a frantic situation, and even hours later, it's still a very fluid situation. You can see the police lights glistening off in the distance, a sight that no one here wants to see tonight. It was at this strip mall where we're told some of the crowds first ran to. This is where we first saw the scene earlier this afternoon. There was so much adrenaline in the air, but the heartbreak was so palpable. We were on scene less than an hour after the tragedy unfolded, which means we saw those groups of first responders, dozens of police cars, fire engines, and ambulances, and most heartbreakingly, families and mothers sobbing, asking where their kids are. People who live near Thornton Road and Lucille Avenue say it all happened so fast.
That was a lot of gunfire. That was a lot of gunfire.
At least 3 bursts of gunfire, Jason Amoson said, and after a fleet of first responders.
There was probably 10 to 12 ambulances, every fire truck, every police officer.
At first, he didn't know what had happened, but he saw, as we saw, on the cold concrete and under the dark sky, families breaking down into tears.
Afterwards, there was a lot of people that walked out, a lot, yelling for their kids and stuff like that.
And after being out here all night, that is what sticks with me too. Those parents who just wanted to know where their kids were. Tragic to know that some will never see their loved ones again. As many of you know, I was born and raised here in San Joaquin County. I have been to the strip mall and been to this neighborhood several times. I have friends who live here. Was actually here just a couple of weeks ago at one of the businesses. To say that they're all stunned. Everyone I know who lives in this community is stunned. In my 9 years of covering crime here in Stockton, this is by far the most heartbreaking, the most terrifying scene I have ever had to be at. To say that this is heartbreaking doesn't even cover all of it. The city is in shock tonight. Live in Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Gabriel Porras, I can only imagine how difficult that must be in your community reporting on such horrific gun violence. Thank you for sharing the update for us and your insights. Thank you. Assemblymember Radija Ransom, who represents Stockton, released a statement saying, quote, "I'm heartbroken by the violence and tragedy in Stockton and the senseless loss of life that has resulted from this. My heart is with the families experiencing unimaginable pain and with those," she had given this quote online, she said, "My heart is with those families experiencing unimaginable pain and with those who have been injured. These events are deeply traumatizing for our community." And also the governor's office releasing a statement on social media tonight as well, saying Governor Gavin Newsom has been briefed on the horrific shooting in Stockton. The governor's Office of Emergency Services is monitoring this evolving situation and coordinating with local law enforcement tonight. Stockton Mayor Christina Fugazi confirms she spoke with Governor Newsom, saying he has offered the full support of the state of California to assist the community and local law enforcement agencies in any way needed. Meanwhile, Stockton's Vice Mayor Jason Lee speaking out shortly after the shooting, his statement saying, quote, "To the families impacted, to the loved ones grieving, and to every child and parent shaken by this tragedy, my thoughts, my prayers, and my heart are with you tonight. Stockton is my home, and your pain is my pain," end quote. And so this is what we know. We've been following the coverage of the Stockton mass shooting, and this happened shortly after 6 tonight when the dispatch center got reports of a shooting that occurred at the 1900 block of Lucille Avenue in Stockton. And we have confirmed with authorities that 14 people were struck by gunfire, and 4 victims have been confirmed deceased. Stay with our breaking news coverage of the Stockton mass shooting. It continues when we're back. More live from the scene after this quick break. Late News Tonight is back in 60 seconds. And we continue our team coverage tonight of that senseless tragedy in Stockton. The mayor of Stockton saying tonight that this is Thanksgiving weekend, a weekend where families are supposed to come together tonight. And there is still no suspect information in this shooting. A suspect is still on the run, according to investigators. They want you to have this number. We're putting it up on the screen for you. If you take a look, jot this down, put it in your phone. This is the number for Stockton Crime Stoppers, 209-946-0600. That's the number, 209-946-0600. You can be anonymous when you leave a tip. And we're going to get you back out to ABC 10's Roxanne Elias. You've been at the scene for hours now. The crime scene tape is up. Investigators are still at the scene. It's still very active. Law enforcement has swarmed the area looking into what exactly happened here. And their main priority, as you mentioned earlier, is identifying who that suspect is and bringing them into custody. And tell us more about the emotion. We heard from the mayor earlier tonight in tears about this tragedy out of Stockton.
Yeah, Nazi, I mean, we've spoken to so many different city leaders, law enforcement, spokesperson, San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. I mean, just looking into their eyes, you could tell it's been hard for them to hold back the tears, and you just see them, staring off and just really in shock here as they try to figure out how something like this could happen. The spokesperson for the sheriff's office calling it something unfathomable. We also heard from Stockton Mayor, of course, reminding us this is Thanksgiving weekend when families are supposed to be spending it with their family members and their loved ones, celebrating, spending time together. But instead, this family is having to spend it in the hospital and waiting to see what happens. We still don't know the magnitude, the severity of some of the injuries here. And so a very sad tragedy here for the entire Stockton community. We are standing with them and pray for all of them. I'm live out here in Stockton. Nazi, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Roxanne, thank you so much. It's such a heartbreaking situation. Thank you for being out there and bringing us the details as you learn them. We'll take you over to ABC 10's Gabriel Porras now, who's also standing by live as well. And Gabe, you mentioned earlier, you grew up in San Joaquin County, and you're calling us the worst tragedy you've ever had to report on. Talk to me about that sentiment and what has been so different for you tonight.
Yeah, I've been reporting on crime in Stockton for the past 9 years at the scene of countless homicides, many times involving more than one victim, but this certainly is the most tragic scene I've had to cover. With, you think about this, the scope of this, the amount of lives that were touched by this, the amount of lives that were tragically lost this evening here. When we first got here, everything was very frantic. There was a lot of adrenaline going on. We first had taken note of this parking lot, the Dairy Queen parking lot, Thornton Plaza, I believe is what it's called. People had started to gather there. We were told later that that's where some of the victims had ran to try to get away from the gunfire, away from the situation that was unfolding in that banquet hall nearby. At that point, we really didn't know a lot of information. Just less than an hour after it happened, family members were rushing to the scene. They were asking where their children were. Those heartbreaking sobs and tears from mothers and family members are things that I will certainly never forget having to witness out here. Obviously, they're dealing with a whole world of other issues right now, and having to grieve and go through all this. So we're looking at video now from earlier when this scene was really unfolding. Throughout the evening here, there have been people driving by, people stopping by just asking what's going on, and some people hearing about it on the news, seeing and having to see the scene for themselves. This is sort of a moment you really haven't seen in Stockton in a while that brings people out and to try to figure out what's going on, try to grieve together. I think that's what we're going to have to see a lot of too, is people coming together to grieve, and that's going to be one of the ways that this community makes it out of this. But again, there is still somebody on the loose, so that is a big focus right now for law enforcement and for people out here in the city as well, trying to find the person responsible, holding them accountable, and of course grieving and trying to move on from this tragedy here tonight in Stockton. I'll send it back to you, Nazi.
Unimaginable tragedy. Thank you for providing your insight. You know, you're so connected to that community, and it's truly heartbreaking as that suspect does remain on the loose. And, you know, we're talking about the victims here too. You know, we have 14 victims total, 4 of them deceased, and they do range from juvenile to adult. And so that's what truly is making this incredibly heartbreaking for these families, knowing that innocent young people may have been involved in this. We did also hear from St. Joseph Hospital saying that Dignity Health St. Joseph Medical Center received 3 patients. As a result, 2 adult patients are currently being cared for by their hospital. 1 has minor injuries and a second patient is undergoing surgery. A 9-year-old pediatric patient, this is new information, a 9-year-old pediatric patient also arrived at the emergency room and is in fair condition. That's according to St. Joe's, and they say that further information is going to be provided by the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office. So we're getting new details as they're coming in, and our team coverage continues on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Remember, you can keep up with all your breaking news as it happens through our app. It's free to download on your TV. We're active on the app. We're active on our website, abc10.com, bringing you all of the latest updates as we learn them. Breaking news tonight in Stockton, a deadly mass shooting.
Let this ring perfectly clear. In this community in San Joaquin County, violence of this nature has absolutely no place at any time, shape, or form, and children should not be harmed by gun and gang violence.
Hearing from the San Joaquin County District Attorney speaking tonight after 14 people were shot, a stern message as 4 people have been confirmed dead. Stockton's mayor tonight said children and adults did not make it. If you are just joining us, a deadly mass shooting happening in Stockton tonight at what's being described as a children's birthday party in a banquet hall. The shooting happened shortly after 6 o'clock tonight. It was on Lucille Avenue near Thornton Road. Investigators calling it a targeted attack. A family event, a party ending with gunfire on Thanksgiving weekend. Investigators have not announced any motive tonight. There's still no suspect information in the shooting, with a suspect on the run, according to investigators. They want you to have a number on your screen. We'll put it up for you. That is the number that you can call if you have any information about what happened tonight or any information on a possible suspect. Please call Crime Stoppers. Stockton Crime Stoppers number on your screen, 209-946-0600. Again, that's 209-946-0600. You can leave a tip anonymously. We've been at the scene throughout the night with our live team coverage. You can keep up with all the breaking news as it happens through our ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. It is free to download on your TV. We'll have more coming up on ABC 10's morning show tomorrow morning as well.